You're with the urban sports scene, and we're here with Morgan State play-by-play man Lamont Germany. The Morgan State Bears lose a tough one, 20-10 to the Towson Tigers in the battle for Baltimore. There was a lot of optimism coming into this game. LG, we had the chance to talk to you earlier in the week, and you were saying the noise that this Morgan State Bear team was going to make was going to be national, beyond just Baltimore, but seemed to fall flat here. Do you think there was a lingering effect from last week's close loss at Akron? Give us your assessment of this team's play tonight.
Man, Mama said to be days like this. I didn't think it was going to be today, though. I think you got to start with giving credit to Towson. They just brought it from the very beginning of the game. A team that hadn't won a game. They knew they were the team that had to throw the first punch. They had to be the initiator. They had to be the aggressor. And they were, even on the road against Morgan. Morgan team that had two inspired efforts their first 2 weeks came into a Towson situation where the Tigers were just hungry for a win, and they were definitely the hungrier team. They did some things against the Morgan defense that our first two opponents could not do, particularly in the first half. I think the defense more or less settled down in the second half, but it's really too late for Morgan at that point. Our offensive problems really have been the same problems throughout the first 3 games. Just nothing consistent from that side of the ball. And if you're a good team, I think you got to be a balanced team, and we just haven't had the balance that we need on offense. And unless you find those answers, not only tough tonight, but it's going to be tough to maintain consistency throughout the course of the entire year. You have a whole roster, the whole roster has to contribute to winning. And if you don't get that sort of a contribution, then you're going to have some problems. I am going to give the defense credit for doing what they needed to do in the second half, pitching a shutout. But the first half problems is just too much for us to overcome because of our defensive weaknesses. I'm not really going to blame it on last week. I'm going to put more on the blame on what Towson brought out the gate initially. This was a rivalry game. It contains hype and energy anyway, just off of that. And Towson just brought more energy, particularly early on. Coaching staff had a good game plan. Their quarterback was able to pick us apart a little bit and come on down the field by air, and they were able to do enough on the ground to offset that. And they just played the more consistent 60 minutes. It's not always the better team as the team that plays the best football. Towson clearly played the best football tonight.
Are you surprised with the lack of pressure that the defense got on Towson's quarterback, considering how the first 2 games the defense seemed to bring it? No sacks for this defense tonight.
I put a lot of that on good decision making by the quarterback. Sometimes sacks are a function of quarterbacks not reacting well to pressure. Whenever Morgan did get a little bit of a push, Nathan Kent read it, tucked it away, and just got what he could. He didn't linger in the pocket and just take sacks. Rather than take a sack, let me get 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 yards. So he was a real good decision maker. Not just throwing the football, but he knew when to just pull it down. I'm not going to throw this one. I'm just going to take what I can get. You don't always have to be a hero on every play, and those plays can be just as big as the hero plays. It's true their offensive line did a good job too, because Morgan didn't get the normal heat. But when they did get a little bit of push, I just think the quarterback reacted very well to it. He, as a consequence, was able to avoid the sack. So, the team that had 10, 11 sacks, 0 sacks tonight.
So do you feel like the coaching staff, Coach Wilson and his staff, had his team prepared in the sense of knowing the mindset of Towson, who was 0-2 and was looking to make a statement in a rivalry game? You got to know they were going to come in hungry. I wonder if Coach Wilson told his guys, you got to match that energy. What was your thoughts on just how Towson came out as opposed to how Morgan State came out?
I'm sure that was the message.
Okay.
But the players did not receive it or didn't execute because they did not come out with anything. And I thought it would be there just as a function of playing here at home for the first time. They played, 2 games on the road. You finally get a chance to play in front of your home crowd. You finally get a chance to do something on the field that you practice on every week in front of your fans. You get a chance to do it in a rivalry game. I thought that would bring energy, and I just didn't see it from this team. In football, you get so few opportunities. It's a sport where you play the fewest games, so every game really has to matter. You just don't have the luxury of taking nights off. They're costly for you, and Morgan didn't bring the energy. But again, I'm going to lean on giving more credit to Towson. They brought more energy, and they earned the win tonight. They deserved it. Now we got to go back to the drawing board, because we got a team next week that I actually think is better than Towson and Albany, just based on the way they played through the first few games of the season. So we got to suck it up. We got to find some answers, and we got to bring much more energy, or we're going to have another tough time next week.
Deuce Taylor, 3 picks. What do you do at quarterback next week?
I think probably it's still going to be a work in progress. I think it's going to be experimental, because no individual quarterback is taking the job. You want a quarterback to step up and make the decision for the coach as to who the starting quarterback is going to be. Well, the coach doesn't even have to make a decision. We haven't done that. None of our quarterbacks have done that. And so I think the coaches are just giving each quarterback an opportunity. Okay, show me. And ain't nobody showing. And so the coach is spreading around the opportunities and seeing if one of these young men will seize that opportunity and take this job. And through 3 games, frankly, nobody has emerged. So I think there's a good chance that we may see 2 or 3 again next week against Albany.
Well, I appreciate your time. Again, it's a final. Towson 20, Morgan State 10. We'll see if they can bounce back next week and find an answer at quarterback. LG, we appreciate your time as always, man.
Appreciate you, brother.